Well, hello, friends. Bob Baker here. And I wanted to come on for a few minutes this evening and share with you the three benefits of pursuing a big goal and stepping outside your comfort zone. I know a lot of people never even experience these benefits because fear and uncertainty hold them back. And so we were all guilty of this. You want to play it safe. It's uncomfortable to pursue something that's big and bold and that stretches you, right? And so a lot of people never do this. But I just want to tell you that there are some benefits, at least in my life. I have pursued a number of bold things over the decades. And from personal experience, that there are definitely some benefits that come with doing that. So I just wanted to share three of them. So benefit number one is that when you pursue something like that that's outside your comfort zone, what it does is it stirs up and reveals to you and uncovers your negative thoughts and your beliefs. They're under the hood, operating subconsciously. We don't even know, or we're not even aware how our beliefs are dictating the choices we make and how we live our lives. And so when you squeeze yourself and you pursue something that's out of your comfort zone, it's a stretch goal, if you will, it brings these things up. Because there's two ways to react to that. You can go, ooh, I don't like this yucky feeling, so I'm just not going to do this crazy stuff. I'm just going to play it safe and stay home and stay where it's nice and comfortable. But no, I think it's an opportunity, because once you become aware of these negative thoughts, it's a great opportunity to ask yourself, well, wow, that's interesting. Why do I feel that way? What is the underlying thought that's triggering this biological reaction? I got butterflies. I feel nervous. Why don't I feel worthy to do this? And you start having thoughts like, no, nobody's going to take me seriously and all that. And so when these things come up, instead of just accepting them as the gospel truth, you start to question them. You go, is that really true? Well, is it really true that no one will take me seriously, or I have nothing to offer here? Because we're often so close to ourselves, we don't realize the value that we bring to the world. Something that's like second nature to you could be like an amazing thing. Like, oh my God, how do you do that to somebody else? And so again, when you pursue something that squeezes you like that and it brings up these negative thoughts, it's a great opportunity to examine them, ask if they're valid. And then once you identify them and know what they are, and you want to do this without judgment, without shame. This is not about feeling bad about yourself. Well, there's no shame or blame here. It's just awareness. You objectively observe them, and then you can, over time, you can dissolve them. You can go, oh, there's that feeling again. I'm not going to take that seriously because it's not the truth. And then you could take steps to replace them with more empowering thoughts and beliefs. You can use affirmations. You may know I'm a big fan of this. Got a YouTube channel. It's been rocking and rolling with affirmations for 8 years now. Just recently passed 400,000 subscribers. So this is really an opportunity. Sometimes it takes stepping outside your comfort zone and pursuing something bold. I believe a lot of us have these innate desires, these instincts that we have to create and to share and to help others and lift other people up, but we hold ourselves back because of this fear, this silly stuff that's just all in our heads. It's really just our ego trying to keep us safe. Because if you go into these uncertain areas, then suddenly your survival is threatened. It's like a callback to the ancient caveman days, I suppose. So maybe it's wired into our DNA for survival, but it doesn't have to affect you as long as you shine the light of awareness on it and take steps to examine, question those thoughts that you have and replace them with more empowering thoughts by doing affirmations and other type of personal development work. Benefit number two of pursuing a big goal is that once you do it, even if you take little baby steps and you just have a little bit of success, it builds confidence. You go, oh, this thing that I was so afraid of, there wasn't that bad after all. There was no big boogeyman there. And when you survive it and actually have a little bit of success, you feel good about yourself, you gain confidence. And that confidence then leads to another step that you take. Then that leads to momentum. Now you're activated. And the more that you do this, over time, it spills over into other areas of your life and other goals that you want to pursue. Then you start like living a more fulfilling life, where you're not only feeding your own soul, but you're also serving humanity, or at least that little slice of humanity that you have access to, right? So you're serving in a bigger way. The second biggest benefit to pursuing a big goal, stepping outside your comfort zone is that once you start taking those steps and you survive and maybe even have small successes, it builds confidence, you feel better about yourself, and you build momentum so you can do more of that type of work in the world. That's number 2. Number 3, the benefit of pursuing a goal like this that makes you a little uncomfortable is that it almost always leads to unexpected opportunities and successes that you never could have conceived had you just sat on a couch and thought about this stuff. You know, this happens time and time again in my life. There was this 10-year period where here in my hometown of St. Louis, I published a music magazine that covered the local music scene. And when I started it in my late 20s, I had no idea. Like on paper, this was the worst idea you could have ever come up with because I had no previous experience. I never worked for the school newspaper or wrote for the school newspaper. I never took a journalism class. All I had was an interest in writing like I did on my own. I was a musician and I wanted to spread the word about all the cool stuff that was happening right here in our own backyard in St. Louis. So I'm just going to start this little magazine and maybe I'll run some ads in it. I'll make a little money. I'll do some good in my community. And the first year, it was really ugly. People pointed out typos. I learned so much, but I ended up doing it for 10 years. And over the course of that decade, I learned about writing and editing and headlines, layout, design, serving an audience, getting people's attention, through the written word and through images. And it just really helped me in so many ways so that when I went to publish my own books much later, I already had those skills. I didn't have to hire necessarily an editor or a designer because I knew how to do that stuff. And also, about 5 years into this newspaper period, I connected with a guy in San Diego who ended up publishing my first book. And I had aspirations to publish a book even years earlier. Didn't know how to do it. Back then, this was before print on demand, so the hurdles and the expense was much greater than it is now. I ended up connecting with a guy that published my first book. And that put me on the map. And then that built my confidence. Wow, I'm a published author. Oh, I'm going to do this again. And then I used those skills that I had from publishing the newspaper to put out my own books. Now I got 16 of them out. 14 of the 16 I published myself. And so it's been an awesome ride. Oh, there's Rob. Oh, Rob remembers Spotlight Magazine because that's where we met back in the late 80s. Awesome drummer, by the way. Bach to the Future is one of his musical projects. But yeah, I met you as a result of publishing Spotlight Magazine. And then you were instrumental, so to speak, pun intended. There was a brief period where Mel Bay, the publisher, distributed my books. And that was a connection that you made because we had met and you had benefited from my books. So this is a great example of just like taking action, interacting with the world, pursuing your dreams, even if you don't know what the heck you're doing. Because most of us, all of us, are just going through life, making stuff up as we go along. We're all improvising our way through this life and through our pursuits. And even the people that you think are super successful and have their act together, they had to wing it too, And you gain a bit of confidence and certainty as you go along, but nothing's ever really certain. I'm going to figure this out. I want to do this thing. I'll figure it out. If other people have done it, why can't I? As opposed to, well, all these other people are really successful at it. Who am I to think that I can? There's already people in that space. Who's going to want to hear from me? That's like the wrong attitude to have. I'm going to encourage you, if you have thoughts like that, dissolve those right away and replace them with more empowering thoughts because you have a gift that you were meant to shine and you deserve to be out there sharing your gifts and your talents just like anybody else. So yeah, when you take action, you interact with the world, it leads to unexpected successes and opportunities that you never would have seen coming. So there's so many benefits. I'm going to be talking a lot more about this topic, about growing an audience, making an impact, leaving a legacy with people that have this desire to share what they know and what they can do with the world. Because we all have a message that somebody needs to hear. Everybody's not going to have 1 million followers. But what if you had dozens or hundreds of followers? What if you impacted just one person's life in a meaningful way? Would that be worth getting your message, your music, your art out there? I think so. And in January, I'm planning on launching a program that's called 21 Days to Rock Solid Confidence for Purpose-Driven Creators. That means someone who's heart-centered and wants to do some good in the world with the gifts that they were given. And so keep an eye out for that. I'm sure you'll be hearing more about that in the weeks ahead, and especially towards the end of the year. It'll start like January 11th and end on the 31st. It'll be a 21-day period, but I'll get back to you about that later. All right. Thanks for joining me. Hope you have a great holiday season. And this is Bob Baker saying so long for now.